Hello, everyone. I'm Shinpei, and welcome to Poker Tournament Insider, the podcast where we explore the stories, people, and events behind the world's biggest poker tournaments. Today's episode is focused on one of the most iconic poker festivals in the world, the Irish Open. The Irish Open is not only the longest running No Limit Hold'em tournament in Europe, but also one of the most unique poker festivals, known for its incredible atmosphere, passionate players, and unforgettable moment both at and away from the tables. Today I'm joined by the co-owner of the Irish Open, JP McCann, who will take us behind the scene of the event from its rich histories to what players can expect from this year's 2026 event. JP, thank you so much for joining the show today.
Thanks for having us on the table, Shipeg. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And when I was doing this interviews and I was doing a lot of research about the Irish Open and also culture of the Irish culture, and I discovered the one word, Craic, Craic.
Yeah.
And your Irish Open has the players' lounge called the Craic Den.
Yeah.
And someone like me, I used to live in North America, and when I hear the place called Craic Den, I think about a lot of people doing some illegal substance, maybe having some fun. But what is Craic?
So firstly, we did a promotion. So we started the Craic Den when we went into the RDS. So the RDS is the new venue where we are now. Previously, we had been in City West Hotel. And we came to the RDS in 2023. So we did a promotion. We put it out to people to come up with a suggestion for a name for our players' lounge. And one of the names came in. Actually, I think we might have called it Jokers the first year, and then we had it the Craic Den, and I was like, so the crack for our Irish people is fun. Like for example, if someone asked me today, they'd be like, "Did you have a good night last night?" I was like, "Yeah, I had great crack." Okay. And but as you rightly said there, so we've quite a lot of Canadians and Americans that come play the Irish Open, and they're kind of like the Craic Den. You know in America what a Craic Den is. I said I know what a Craic Den is in America, and that's the reason why we've called it the Craic Den. But yeah, the Craic Den is a central part of the whole ethos of the Irish Open. Like I've been playing and working at poker events all around Europe for the best part of 2 decades, and some venues and some festivals that I've gone to in the past, they were just all business. And so whether a player wins money and has a nice result and they want to go off celebrate, or someone's having a bad day and they want to blow off some steam, we have the Craic Den there. It's open every day. We have parties every night. We have like live music. We have hypnotists, comedians. We have Phil Baker who does the entertainment. There's the MC, puts on great shows, and we have like beer pong competitions. All sorts of crazy stuff happens. All sorts of crazy stuff happens there. And like we've actually people who come to the event. I actually have a couple from England who haven't played one hand of cards in 3 years. And they've been coming to the Irish Open for years. They used to play poker all the time. And the last 3 years, they've just been in the Craic Den having the crack. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
And enjoying some substance, I guess.
Yeah. Enjoying some of the black gold, as we like to call it, the Guinness.
The Guinness.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2022 main event, Irish Open main event winner, Steve O'Dwyer, was on my show recently, and he said, you can't go there and not make new friends. So that's whole things. Like, for example, if someone is not been to the Irish Open before, you would just say, go there. You're going to make new friends. Definitely.
I would obviously it's my tournament, so I'm going to promote it. But it's a lot of fun. Like it is an awful lot of fun. And while we have tournaments with big buy-ins and it's serious tournaments, and we have some of the best staff from Europe and America and from the rest of the world working at the event. The poker sides of things are ran really professionally, but it is a very relaxed atmosphere. Like sometimes you go to a poker tournament and everybody's just a bit on edge. And okay, of course, a situation can happen and someone can be upset about something, and of course that can happen. But I think because of the fun activities that we're doing every day, the I just see people go in there. They might go in there for half an hour and go back to their tables on the break, and they're coming back like, "Jeez, did you see what they have? Did you see what they're doing in there now? That's mental stuff. You know what I mean?" And so I think that's just that part of it, and it's such a simple thing. And as I mentioned there off camera there, Frode, who I run the Norwegian Championships for, and I picked a lot of this stuff up from him. He was doing this when I was running the Norwegian Championships years ago, and just putting on entertainment every night. Because sometimes people don't want to play. Like if they're coming away for a 12 days festival, they don't want to play poker for 12 days, and like they're not fresh if they're playing poker for 12 days. So it's sometimes they look at the schedule, and go, okay, I want to play that day, and that tournament. And this night I'm going to take the night off and I'm going to go in and watch the lip sync or whatever we have on that night. And I think it's a great way for people to switch off, meet, as you say, meet friends in the Craic Den because they're sometimes people at poker tables, they sit down and they don't talk to each other
Yeah.
for the whole day.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
like
So
put headphones and just like shut off. But yeah,
yeah.
like when I saw a lot of pictures or videos, like people having fun like at the table, and this is like, how can you have such fun when there's like 4,548 entries in main event? It's a massive, massive poker tournament, and everyone's having fun. It's like how do you say, college tournament or like home game.
Well, I think it kind of comes from all the staff, the key staff we have working, been working for us years. I like to have fun. I have fun with my staff. We have fun with the dealers, so we all kind of have fun. So it's kind of from the top down. We all have fun at the event. I've got staff members who have now gone off into other careers that left the poker industry more or less completely, but they come back and work this event. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Because they take holiday time from their new job to work this event because
wow.
they love playing or they come love working at this event.
Wow.
Yeah.
And last year's 2025, there were a documentary called Inside the Irish Open,
Oh yeah.
which was released about last weekend.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
you could see whole teams, like how much they're having fun from dealers, from the reception person. And that's the whole thing. It's like it was amazing to see that you get to see some glimpse of the tournament, but from even the behind of the scene, everyone's having joy and fun to be part of the this event.
Yeah. Like as I say, I've said this to for people for years, and Laura's gonna laugh when I say this now. Um, we work in the fun economy. That's what we do. Okay, so it should be fun. Like we're not brain surgeons. What we do is not rocket science. Yes, it needs to be organized. It needs to be run professionally. It needs to be done correctly. But it should be fun. Like people are flying from around the world to come to Dublin to play our event. They're spending hard-earned money on flights and hotels and tournament buy-ins to choose our event over a different event, and they're taking for most part as recreation players, they're choosing holiday time to come to our event. So it's our job, our responsibility to when they get here that they have the best experience that they can have. And as I said, it shouldn't just be about poker. Obviously, poker is the biggest key element to it. But and even when it's at poker, it should be fun. And I'm not talking about a dealer talking during a hand, cracking jokes. I'm just talking about it should be enjoyable for everyone and the atmosphere. And that's one of the things that I think we have managed to do is create a good atmosphere. We don't have the staff under pressure. We have enough staff there. Nobody's under pressure, and we've got really good staff. The event runs smoothly, and yeah, it's top down. It's fun. You'll know when you come this year.
Okay. And as I mentioned, the Irish culture, there's a word crack, but also in Irish culture, there's the hospitality side of it,
Yeah.
like a great hospitality. And I think that's the draws a lot of international players. And last year, as I mentioned, and even like just main event, there's over 4,000 players entered. And how's the international players growth for last, let's say, 2, 3 years?
So very good question, and I'll give you since myself and Paul took over the Irish Open in 2016. So we took over the Irish Open. So the 2015 event was probably the lowest point in recent history for the Irish Open. And the event had 320 players. It had dropped from a peak of 708, which it had twice in, I believe, 2006 and 2009, at 708 in both of those years. And the numbers were starting to dwindle and go down. There was a couple of reasons for why that happened. Um, but the first year when we ran the event, we made a massive decision that a lot of people thought we were kind of ruining the prestige of the event. We lowered the buy-in from 3,500 down to 1,150. Um, we didn't have a sponsor, and the country was going through a financial crisis at the time. So the 3,500 price point wasn't affordable for the local market, and the international market had stopped coming. Because there were other events out there at the time that were would have, like, for example, the PokerStars CPTs. Obviously, stars were running satellites and they were getting great numbers, and all that sort of stuff. So in the first year in 2008, 72% of the field were Irish. In last year, so even though the amount of Irish players are increasing year on year, last year 30% of the field in the main event were Irish.
Wow.
Yeah. So we had players from 68 different countries who participated in the main event last year. Um, and what's happening, and is kind of going back to what Steve O'Dwyer mentioned, is players come from another country. Like in the first year we did in 2016, we had six Canadians came over. Griffin Bergen won it. He had finished on the final table of the World Series. The previous year, I think he was fifth or sixth. He came over and won it. And out of those six Canadians that came that year, they all went back and said, this event is great. We now have close to 200 Canadians that are coming. And that's it's our job when people come to our event to make sure A, the event is run professionally, and B, they have a good experience. And even players, so players come to our event, and even if they lose money, they're like, if I'm going to play one event next year, that's the tournament I'm going to play. And that's how the international market has been growing year on year exponentially. And the percentage of Irish players, even though the amount of Irish players is increasing every year, is percentage terms, obviously the world's population is way bigger than Irish population, is increasing.
Wow.
So yeah, so that's there you go.
Yeah, that's the exponential growth, and the
Yeah.
that with exponential growth comes with the management. So, for example, 2022, the main event was 2,040, and last year 2025 it was 4,548. So it's more than double.
Yeah.
So with that time frame, like how did you manage to support that much of growth?
So 22 and 23 were kind of weird years. They were probably two. 23 was probably our toughest year. And it was because we had a venue change. So as I mentioned earlier on, we had been in City West Hotel from 2010 doing the Norwegian Championships, and then we merged the Norwegians and the Irish Open in 2016. So we had a great working relationship with the hotel. Um, all of our equipment was kept on site. In 22, we came out of COVID restrictions on the 29th of January. So we had 8 weeks to organise the 22 event. Whereas normally we finish the event at Easter, by the time we get everybody paid and we balance off the accounts and all that sort of stuff, just about another 2 weeks. And then we take 3 weeks off, and then we start planning straight away for the next year.
Right.
So 22, we had the shortest lead in time to organise and get all the staff and all that sort of stuff. Moving to the RDS in 23 was very challenging because it's an old building, it's a listed building, so there's a lot of things you can't do. Whereas if you're in a new modern venue, like you can hang stuff from the roof, you can put branding everywhere, and like even from an internet point of view, which I think we have it in the documentary, is like there's cast iron everywhere. So it's really bad for the internet. So we have to put in our own whole system and all this sort of stuff. So the biggest challenge we had was the new venue. But scaling up from 1,000 players to 2,000 players, it's just more tables and more staff. That part is easy. And again, this year we're going to have more tables. This year we're going up to 280 tables. So the scaling up is, if we know we're going to need more tables, we just buy the equipment, we get more chips, we get more staff. That part is easy.
But the when you support the growth and you turn basically the from kind of dying Irish Open to the flourish to the international the event. But the very beginning of the Irish poker and when then Irish poker was born was back in 1980. Uh, Terry Rogers went to the United States and found how much a no limit hold'em was booming back there. It was basically cracking over there, and you brought that cracking game back to Irish, then Iran, then you created the Irish Open. But before 2016, you took over the Irish Open. How did you first get involved with the Irish Open?
So Paul, who's the co-owner, Paul O'Reilly, who's co-owner of the Irish Open with me, his family owned the Irish Open and actually had sold it to Paddy Power, but he was kept on to run the event, manage the event for Paddy Power. Paddy Power, obviously, as you know now, are one of our sponsors with PokerStars. Um, so, Funny enough, Paul and myself are both from Tallaght. It's a suburb in Dublin. So Ireland's quite small, the poker community is quite small. So I had, as I mentioned, I had been working around Europe as a term director for various different brands and companies. And Paul had brought me in to be one of the assistant term directors. And I believe I think my first Irish Open that I worked was the 2009 event was I think the first one I worked, 2008 or 2009. Uh, so yeah, I had like I got into poker in a very unusual way, and I remember the first year I worked at the Irish Open, and I was like, wow, I've hit the jackpot here. I'm working at the Irish Open. I can't believe it. You know what I mean? Now I'm one of the owners of the Irish Open.
Oh wow!
Uh,
So started from I don't want to say started from bottom, but like I mean like you all the way to the top.
Yeah, I started, I ran pub games. I started running pub games many years, 20 years ago. And then I opened up a casino, or sorry, poker room. I opened that up in 2012. I started doing the tour, working for various different brands. Like I worked for PokerStars for a number of years, doing like the UK IPT tour and the EPTs. I worked in France with the Barrier Casino Group. I was a resident term director there with them for a number of years. So yeah, I worked around Europe quite a bit prior to opening my club in 2012. When I opened up the club in 2012, I more or less stopped doing my international tour because I think the year before I opened that up, I worked 36 different events around Europe. And my first son had just been born as well. So I wasn't in the country well or that much. So I wouldn't have been able to run my own business and run other people's business as well.
Then when you took over 2016, there's the opportunity came, and as you mentioned, 2015 it was lowest point for the Irish Open. And what was your first vision? Like what like when you took over, it's basically your little baby, and you can now grow like however you want. Like what was your vision?
So, as I mentioned, I'd been running the Norwegian Championships in CDS Hotel, and that used to finish on Palm Sunday. Palm Sunday is the Sunday before Easter Sunday, and the Irish Open used to start on Holy Thursday, which is the following Thursday, 4 days later, and that used to be in the Burlington Hotel. I'd actually approached uh, Paddy Powers 2 years prior to that, I think it was. I say like, this makes no sense to have such two big events in the same city. I'm breaking down on a Monday. You're setting up like the setup of one of these events is takes days. I said, why don't we just bring the two to the same venue? I was actually looking to have an event of my own event. I was just like bring those two events together. I was going to try and take the 3 or 4 days myself for my own type of event for a few days. But the plan originally was as I said, we merged the Norwegians with the Irish Open back in 2016, and we ran I think it was a 3 week festival. The Irish Open originally had been 4 days, sorry, 5 days, Thursday to Monday. And then we extended it to Monday, made it 8 days in the first year. And then last year we actually was the first year we made it 12 days. So our vision to begin with was first of all to stop the rot. As I said, it had been a downward spiral from 2009 up to 2015. So we identified, and as I mentioned already, we took a bit of it. Some people thought it was a gamble. Thought we were devaluing the event, but we felt it was the correct move for the time for the Irish players, and we brought the price point down, and we looked at what else was out there in the world, and if we kept ourselves at the 3.5K price point, there was a lot of events out there. So we were like, okay, let's make this the best 1K event in the world. Um, and my vision at the time was in 5 years to get ourselves to 2,000 players. And a lot of people, including Paul, laughed at me and said, we've never had past 708. So what makes you think we're going to get to 2,000 in 5 years? And we were at 1,800 in 4 years. And then obviously we didn't have our fifth year because of COVID. But the fifth live event was over 2,000. So our next milestone is 5,000 in the next 5 years. So that's this year. So we should should be at 5,000. And our next milestone after that will be 10,000 when we have our 50th anniversary in 2030.
That would be definitely reachable, I think.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
so.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think
With,
so.
with the growth rate right now, yeah, oh, that will be it.
Yeah.
And before this, we started recording this, we had a little chat, and you mentioned the Craic Den is your little baby, your personal project. But when the Craic Den was born,
Well, so in its current format was when we first went into the RDS, we always had entertainment when we're in City West. It was in the pre-function foyer, so it wasn't as good as what we have now. Now we have a dedicated room. So it was really when we went into the RDS and we got a dedicated room. And so yeah, 23 is when it really came about.
and there has been a lot of memories, and I just heard
A
this.
lot, a lot of sore heads as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just heard this, so I don't know the if it's the true or not. But you saw the T-shirts in an auction or something like that.
So we had lip sync one of the nights last year, and the guys who won it, they were called they were the crack what were they called? The Crack Street Boys
Okay.
instead of Backstreet Boys, and they auctioned off one of their T-shirts. It was a sweaty T-shirt. They just signed it, and we did it for Our Ladies Children's Hospital.
JP McCann, I want €4,000 and nothing. €4,000 and nothing for the children. €4,000 for the Children's Hospital here in Dublin. JP
I was bidding against a French Canadian or French American, and he kept bidding. And fair play to him, he lost the bid, but he then donated to the charity as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Okay, and the even like this year, there's a lot of events in the Craic Den, and one of
Yeah.
the thing it stood out is a deaf comedian, John Smith is coming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and one thing I forgot to mention, back in 2025, you started the first deaf tournament, and that was to me that was very surprising and also admiring to including a lot of community. Obviously, for example, in poker, it's very men and a masculinity. Then you started to open up to ladies event, and now it's deaf poker community. So how did that the collaboration started?
So, very good question. So myself and Paul were in Canada in January 24, I think it was. I think it was January 24. And we were kind of we were going around there for a month doing a little bit of a promotion with Irish Open and doing satellites over there and stuff like that. And we were in Deer Park Casino in Alberta. And we met Darren Chow, who's one of our friends of the Irish Open, ambassadors of the Irish Open. And he was friends with Canadians who've been playing the Irish Open for years. He was obviously Darren is deaf. He plays poker. He was a semi-pro surfboarder back in the day, and a great guy. Such enthusiasm for the game. And I was like, and so we actually what we did we had a Zoom call. So he had an interpreter. So he was obviously speaking with sign to her, and she was talking to us, and he was just talking about his experience. He loves going to play poker tournaments, but he kind of finds it a little bit hard because he's no one they can really talk to. And he was mentioned that he goes to some deaf poker events. There's a big deaf poker event in Barcelona in like November, gets like a couple of hundred players. And I was like, wouldn't it be great to have some deaf events at the Irish Open, so they have their own events that they come to, and but then when they're playing the rest of the events and they're in the other tables, they'll come hopefully on a table with another player who speaks sign, and they can chat to each other and they can have a bit more fun. So that's kind of how it came about. So last year was so he came in 24 and we promoted in 24 that we do it in 25. So last year was our first year of it, and this year I think we've got five there's the 5 or 6 events just for the deaf community. So look, it's really cool. It's a like it's and it's great, and like they loved it, and they're really appreciative of it. And then this year we were like, okay, the main night, which is the final day of their main event, we wanted to put on entertainment for them, which we were bringing over this comedian from England, a deaf comedian. So yeah, be interested.
Yeah.
The rest of the people in the Craic Den will be like, what the fuck is going on here?
Doing this. Yeah. But that would be quite interesting to see interaction with the deaf community, and I'm sure that the last year's event was such the great turnout. So this year's, do you know like how many deaf poker players coming in to this year?
So obviously you don't know until the day. Now it's actually one where we have a reasonably good estimate on it, because I know Darren has been getting people to kind of sign up an interest. So he's at the last count I seen from him was 150 players that had said they were coming over. They either booked the flights or whatever it was, which is great. You know what I mean? So look, I'm really looking forward to it. I really hope it goes well, and it'll be great. We're actually hoping to bring that event further afield as well.
And also this year's event, let me just clarify that it's March 26th till April 6th. It's Royal
Correct.
Dublin Society. And this year also includes a lot of new format, which includes Kings and Queens. So can you explain what is Kings and Queens? It's like a male versus female kind of new format.
Yeah, so we have a few of these events in. So we playing like day 1A and day 1B. They're on the same day, but they're 2 separate flights. And in the Kings and Queens one, the ladies will play first, and we play down to 15% of the field. When registrations close on the ladies one, the men's one starts, and we have to in that one we have to run them separately, because obviously there's less female players than there is male players, and so whatever amount of players play in the ladies event. So if we have 200 ladies, we can have 200 men, and we play down to 15% of the field, and then they come back on day 2. The average stack for both days will be the same. Obviously, chip stacks will be different, and then we'll have a battle of the sexes and see who wins on the day 2.
Oh, nice. And I think that's a thing. Like last year, there was a ladies' event for championship for 2 days. And
Yeah.
even previous year, they had a ladies' event, but it was 1 day.
Correct.
And this year, now ladies' high roller championships. So the female scene, like female poker players in the Irish poker scene, is it growing? Like how is that thing?
It's grown worldwide.
Okay.
It's grown worldwide. Yeah, like it's there. I think the stigma of poker being in a smoky room in the back of a bar type thing is long gone. Um, International events are proving that these are fun events, and some of the girls are better than the men. The first ever Irish Open winner was a woman, Colette Hardy.
Really?
Yeah, she was also the first woman to play at the World Series.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. She passed away last year. She won the main event of the Irish Open twice. Um, so yeah, there is like there's a lot more women playing now. Like so in my club, I probably have on a given night 10-15% of the field are female. Previously, when I started running poker games 20 years ago, there'd be nights there'd be no women at all in the place. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
internationally it's getting bigger, and also Irish poker itself is getting bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%, 100%. Like here, as I mentioned, I'm in Bratislava here now doing the Norwegians, and we have a ladies event here, and I think we had 102 for the ladies event here. Last year it was 86. So yeah,
Well,
it's
it's
wrong.
it's definitely growing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And for the ladies, I'm sure that they will come flock into the Craic Den. Is there any ladies themed or like some event that a lady can enjoy?
In the Craic Den,
Yeah.
all of them. Every single one of them. And believe me, they're in there every night. So like yeah, like I think one of the lip sync was really good last year. Beer pong is great. The shuffleboard is great. Like every night, any of the competitions we do, anybody can play. Doesn't matter if you're young, you're old, you're male, you're female. Everyone could come in.
Also, 70s theme fancy dress competition. That might be one for women
Yeah,
too.
yeah. One of many. Yeah, that's on. That is that on Easter Sunday, Easter Sunday or Easter Saturday. I can't remember which night that is.
Every
Which
single night, ladies can come and have some cracking and beer and or even some games there and enjoy.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and every day during the daytime. So it's a very different vibe between day and night. So during the daytime, it's more kind of calm and relaxed. So we have bean bags with the FIFA PlayStation set up, and we have a FIFA competition that runs throughout the whole festival. We've got shuffleboards there, pool tables there. So the daytime is more relaxed. Then when we do our entertainment, so we start 7 o'clock with our activity, whatever the activity is. That goes on normally for about 2 hours. Then we've got live entertainment, music, or whatever that case may be.
Anything else that this year is a new feature, something that players should know about?
This year, fun events. So we brought very similar to the Kings and Queens. We've got the old dogs and young pups. So we've got up to 30s and 50s and above. Again, flight A, flight B, play 15% of the field. We've introduced a shootout, a triple shootout, which is on Good Friday. And we have a triathlon. So we're going to play full ring, six max heads up through the triathlon. That's on Easter Monday. So yeah, loads for people. And we've a new term this year. We brought in a flip and go. It's like one hand blind Omaha. It's 100 quid. You win your seat into a 1,000 quid tournament, but you can't buy into the 1,000 quid tournament. You have to get in through the flip and go. So that favors recreational players.
And also a quick format of spin and go is also introduced.
Correct. Yeah, Poker Stars are introducing their spin and go format that they run online and runs very successfully online. And so essentially, for anyone who doesn't know, it's three players who play the event and they buy in, and then there's a random number calculator that says how much they're going to win. So they instead of having three buy-ins, they could be winning 20 buy-ins. Yeah. So
Yeah.
great.
And that's very quick one. So like maybe you order a beer and between before even you finish the beer, you might be either winning or losing. So it's quite exciting.
If you play like me, you definitely don't get to finish your beer. For sure you
Just
don't.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, at the end of this episode, what message would you like to give to the poker community?
Well, anyone who's been to the Irish Open already, I don't need to speak to those guys because they know what they're getting. Okay, but if you haven't been to the Irish Open yet, I strongly recommend it. Come have a look. You'll have a blast. You'll make new friends. You'll have great memories, and I will buy you your first pint.
There you go. There you go. Is there any password for the person who actually watched this video to get the pint?
No, just come up to me.
Okay.
Just come up to me on a pint. If we prove that you're a first time registration at the Irish Open, this is your first year, no problem. Well, I'll buy you a pint, and what we'll do is I'll have a Guinness with you, and we'll try and split the G. If you beat me to split the G, I'll buy you a second pint.
There you go.
Your first 2 points.
Amazing. This year's Irish Open is March 26th until April 6th at the Royal Dublin Society.
Correct. We call it the RDS, but you're giving it its full name.
Yeah,
The RDS in Ballsbridge. It's and actually another thing this year to really look forward to. Actually, I should have mentioned this. So Ireland play. So we're football mad in Ireland. We play a World Cup qualifier against Prague. Or sorry, in Prague against the Czech Republic on the 26th of March, which is the first day of our event. Should we get past the Czechs, we play on the 31st of March in Dublin most likely against Denmark, and the stadium is like a 5 minute walk from where we are. So it will be absolutely crazy if we win that game. If we get into that final game and win, because then we will have qualified proper for the World Cup. So it will be absolute bonkers. We'll be having to crack that night.
There you go. And may I assume that you might gonna buy a round of beer or something like that to Craic Den?
You may assume that.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
You may assume that.
There you
That would be a very good assumption of you.
Nice. JP, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing the story behind the Irish Open and your personal history, and also how fun is the Irish Open. Like, just listening to this story, I think everyone wants to be there.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. It's great to speak to new audiences about our event, and I hope any of the people that are watching this come and have a great time. I'm confident if they come, they'll have a great time.
And if everyone listening, if you're thinking about attending the Irish Open, again, it's March 26th till April 6th. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. I'm Shinpei, and I see you next time. Bye-bye.
Ciao. Thank you very much. Bye bye.